right, everybody. Jonathan McMillan back again with another BTA Conversation. And as always, I'm really excited about who I'm talking to today because if you haven't noticed by now, the people who I'm having conversations with are people who I personally admire and people who inspire me. And that's why I have chosen and invited them to come to this forum and ask them to share their stories so that you, my viewers, my followers can also be as inspired as I am and begin to use the things that you're hearing from these conversations to start to build, create, and live your better than average life. Now, with that said, I want to introduce you to Mr. Dudley Thurmond, Dr. Bounceback. I had the pleasure of meeting him probably about 6 months ago, maybe a little more, a little less. He was the keynote speaker at an event which was the Father of the Year award show here in Denver, Colorado. And I heard his story and I was just blown away. In so many different ways, our stories, our journeys have mirrored each other, paralleled each other, that I was very inspired to see the things that he's gone through and where he is now along that journey. Of course, you know, me being on a similar path, I couldn't help but admire him and, again, be inspired by it. I don't really want to go on and steal his shine because he could, of course, tell his story much better than I can. So with that being said, Dudley, thank you for joining us. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on the interview, man. I'm really honored and I'm really thankful for the opportunity. You know, I don't take no opportunity light, you know, and especially if it's an opportunity to inspire, invigorate, or help others. I'm all in, man. And I'll just tell you a little bit about who I am and how I got to where I am right now in my life, if that's cool with you.
Oh, perfect. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, as you said, you know, my name is Dudley Thurmond. Some people call me Dr. Bounceback. Now, Dr. Bounceback came to me from a mentor. That name actually inspired from a chain of events that's happened throughout my life that I've been able to overcome and bounce back and really hone in on that trait of resilience through. And he said, man, you're Dr. Bounceback. That's who you are in my eyes. And I've been calling myself Dr. Bounceback ever since. He told me that. Now, as you know, I'm a keynote speaker. I am a motivational speaker. I actually have my own business, Dudley Thurmond Innovations. But this speaking business or this speaking thing that I do, it was actually birthed through me recognizing that I had a gift, and through me recognizing that I had a gift, I realized that it was my purpose, and from there it turned into a passion, and I pretty much just took it and ran with it, man. And it's been a long haul, and there's still a long way to go, you know. But it came through a lot of trial and tribulations and error throughout my life. That's how I recognize this gift, this purpose, which has now turned into a passion.
Right, and I admire that. I mean, the two words that always come up when I think of you and talk to you is inspiration, admiration, because wow. It may be even a little bit of divine intervention, because again, your journey matches mine almost step for step. Yeah. It always tell people when you're looking to do something or create something in the world, look for the signs out in the world that are telling you you're doing the right thing or you're doing the wrong thing.
Definitely.
And so you're one of those signposts for me.
Right on, man.
And I love it that although we're in the same business, we're not in a competition.
Right.
We support each other. It's a wonderful. I get a warm feeling just talking about it.
Enough to go around, brother. We all go, right?
So let me ask you just from right there is what got you started on your journey? Give me a little bit about why they call you Dr. Bounceback. What is it that you have that resiliency to bounce back from, and then what led you to where you are today?
What led me to where I am today, like I told you, it was it was a chain of events, things that's been going on since I was a youngster. I've hit my head several times to the point to where, uh, man, I shouldn't even be able to think straight. I'm blessed to be here because I've had so many shorts and shortcomings throughout life. But it was one real incident that revealed to me this gift and this purpose that I have, man. And I was a cat that was, I was really into the street life. I was always out there running the streets. I was able to survive in the streets, and I wasn't able to take advantage of those scholarships from me playing football and being that phenomenal football player in high school and all that stuff. And so I really drove to the streets after high school, man. And I tried football a few more times and had some real life-changing experiences that should have drove a little deeper into me, but they didn't. And I went deeper out into the streets after I was involved with these situations. But the one thing that really set me on this journey to impact, to inspire, and be a helping hand for others is when I was out there in the streets. Like I said, I was headed down that wrong road, and I was really living life, visionless. I didn't have a vision upon my life, John, and I didn't have aspirations and positive goals and things like that. And I kept going, and I found myself standing in front of a judge, waiting for that judge to read back my verdict from a trial that I had been in all week. And the judge read my verdict back, and I was found guilty, and I was to be taken into custody immediately. And that's where it all started for me.
Yeah. If I could relate in so many levels, but I mean, even just the direct level of understanding that your life is in the hands of 13 people.
Yes.
As we used to say, was you have 12 and a half or 13 and a half chances,
Man.
12 jurors, one judge, and half a chance that they're going to see
all my chances were gone. I didn't have any more chances. It was now time for me to go and have an experience that I've never had before. And it was meant for me to go and have that experience because that would be the beginning of this journey that I've been on ever since that day.
And I appreciate you sharing that, because I mean, that's part of my experience too. It wasn't until I went to prison that I got the wake up call of, look, man, you're wasting your life. Right. And then last week I interviewed a guy I call my brother. We're that close, Sean Taylor, who actually spent 23 calendars behind the walls. He also got that guilty verdict and was taken into custody, and immediately changed his life around, and now he's doing great things in the city. And that's part of the reason why I want you here with this dialogue, is so that we could show people that just with the felony conviction does not mean it's the end of the road. Yes. Just because you're a black man with a felony conviction doesn't mean that there aren't opportunities out there for you. Let me ask you, once you were convicted and you went to prison and you started to redevelop your mindset, what was your strategy? Was your strategy clear as to, I'm here now, this is where I want to be? Talk to me about that process.
Well, I think my strategy was clear, but I didn't have it all figured out at that point. You know what I mean? And when I say that my strategy was clear, I'm gonna give you some meat and potatoes, so to say. I began as I sat in a facility, in a Department of Corrections facility. I started having interpersonal conversations with myself. Okay, that's where it all began. I started asking myself empowering questions that require empowering answers, and they require answers of accountability. And that was my strategy at that time, and I asked myself, I had to search my values, I had to ask myself, if I could do anything in this world right now to change it in a better way, what would it be? You know what I mean? I started asking myself, what things did you secretly dream about and fantasize about when no one was around? Because you, at that point, when no one is around, you're not worried about what other people think about what you dream about and what you're really passionate about. And all those things led me back to being the leader that I am now and doing the positive things that I am now. So that's how I developed my strategy, man. And I just stuck to it. When I came up with that strategy and those empowering questions and that list that I asked myself those questions every day, man, at that point, I stuck with it, and that was my story, and I was running with it, and I wasn't turning back.
Man, that's powerful. That's powerful, Dudley. I appreciate that, because that requires a level of self-awareness and a uncomfortable talk with yourself sometimes. That a lot of people, and I'll just be frank, the average person is not going to engage in. And again, it's naturally you exhibit characteristics that are better than average, and I think that's what puts you at the level of where you are now. One of the activities I recommend to people is when they're setting out their goals and they get to I want to be a basketball player, or I want to have a better job, or I want to have more money or bigger home, or whatever it is that they say their goal is. The first thing that comes up is but. That word but. And I tell them, ask yourself a question. What has stopped me from achieving whatever my goal is?
Right.
And then answer that question without blaming anybody else.
Right.
And that's the wake-up call they have is usually because lack of dedication, lack of time management, lack of financial discipline, whatever it may be. And I said, that's where you start. Right. That's where you start. So I appreciate that. You also, you're reinforcing the things that I am teaching people and demonstrating that naturally. So that leads me to, I always say that the habits and skills that a person develops is what's going to ensure their success. Of course, you just said asking yourself those questions and holding yourself accountable. Are there any other skills or habits that you have personally picked up, or that you practice on a consistent basis that help you stay at the top of your game?
Mindset development. I call myself a mindset development strategist. And if I could give someone a daily routine or somewhere to start, I would just say start with doing something every day to enhance your mindset, whether it's picking up a book, reading it, whether it's listening to an audio, whether it's writing out your goals, whether it's having a positive conversation with someone, whether it's talking to a person of positive influence that has a lot of wisdom and taking away some principles with it. Mindset development. Start to grow, start to build your mindset in positive ways, and that alone will change your life. You'll start thinking differently. You'll start speaking differently. You'll start walking differently. You'll start believing differently. You'll start understanding differently. Mindset development is the key to success, key to changing, key to anything, getting anywhere in life, man. That's why I teach mindset development principles.
Amen. Is people I'm sure people will look at this video and be like, well, man, they staged this conversation, not understanding just that one concept that you talked about right there is changing your mindset is what brought us together into the same circles, being around people who think like we do,
Right.
And being around people who are teaching us to think the way that we do.
Right.
I always tell people, my book right now, the things that I'm teaching and sharing and training people are 3 concepts: goal building, the flock that you have around you, and number 1 is that mindset. Is having that mindset. Think and Grow Rich is the most influential book I've ever read.
Right.
Think. The first word of that is think. Is Think and Grow Rich. People look at that as a money making book. No, it's a life changing.
Well, it is, man. It is really a money making book, though.
Well, it is.
It can make you rich mentally, and it can bring physical assets. That is the first book I picked up out of incarceration. I started reading that book, man. This is no lie. I've never spoke about this story. I've never wrote about this or anything. And so, the part in the book where it talks about the money and get your mind fixated on and a certain amount of money that you wanna get. You don't know how you're gonna get it, but you write that number down and you go through these steps every day, and you attract that. And I never forget, my number was somewhere around 35 grand or 50 grand or something like that, man. Mm-hmm. And I kid you not, within a year and a half after that, I cashed a check for $30,000. That's all I'm gonna say. So your mind, you do such powerful things with your mind, man, and people don't understand that. You really create your own destiny and opportunities. Like, this mind is powerful.
Yeah. So let me ask you, after that $30,000 check, what's your biggest goal right now?
My biggest goal right now is to impact and inspire and change as many lives as I can. That's my biggest goal right now. I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission to impact, inspire, help change lives, man. Build people up. That is just my number 1 goal right now. It doesn't have a dollar amount on it.
All right. I appreciate that. So I guess this kind of goes hand in hand. I want to ask, what motivates you?
What motivates me? What motivates me most is my kids, my seeds, man. Just watching them grow and wanting to be a positive asset to them in every way, in any way, as they grow. So I know, as long as I continue to put myself out there on these platforms and do positive work, do positive things, help people change lives, my kids are seeing that. And so if I know that they're watching and I want to be the best possible example and create the best possible life for them, and they're watching, and I don't have a choice but to go perform.
Right. I always say that your goal, whenever you set it, it should be your alarm clock in the morning, and it should be the last thing you think about before you go to bed. And you feed that goal. The fuel that you feed that goal is identifying what your motivations are. So, like you mentioned, your children. I don't know. A few minutes ago, my son came in here, asked me to turn on the iPad for him. It's being right there and identifying why I am doing this, why you are doing this, is the fuel. I always say you don't want to put cheap fuel in your car, otherwise it's going to break down. So Dudley, you had mentioned the Doctor Bounce Back title. That came from a mentor of yours.
Yes, sir.
Is there? Well, how do I want to ask this? Obviously, having a mentor is important. I have several. I collect mentors. If I see somebody doing something successfully that I have my sights on, I ask them, "Will you mentor me?
Right.
Can I talk to you?" And I get a ton of great advice. Is from your mentor, or maybe that mentor is someone else. What's the best piece of advice that a mentor has ever given you?
probably, man, to probably the best piece of simple advice, real simple, that I've ever got from a mentor was, I remember I had talked to him, and he told me that he had talked to some people that heard me speak before,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, man, these people are raving about you. Like, they said that you are the real deal, yada, yada, yada. And I kind of downplayed myself to him. And I'm like, I'm all right. I'm trying to. And he said, rule number one, you should never discredit yourself in the work that you do. Always put yourself on a pedestal. So as long as we have conversations, I never want to hear that type of stuff coming out your mouth again. Do you understand me? I said, yes, sir. I understand you. And I started believing in myself a little more.
I always want to give a platform for people to acknowledge whoever it was who did have some influence or some contribution to our success. Is there a mentor who you want to recognize as being a big influence and a contributor to where you are now?
Man, you really want to know the truth?
Please
My biggest mentor,
mm-hmm.
and who taught me the most, man, who I continue to learn from every day, is experience. My experience have been my greatest teacher. Not taking anything away from anyone that I've had a conversation with, but without my experiences, I would be nowhere in life right now. So I'm thankful for the ups and downs and all the experiences that I've had throughout my life, John.
I appreciate that answer. So just a couple more questions, and literally 2 questions. What do you have? Well, I guess you might have answered this already, but I'm gonna give you the opportunity if you have another answer. What is your biggest piece of advice for anybody in 10 words or less?
In 10 words or less?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Listen up. I don't know if you tuned in or you're going to be tuned in, but I want to tell you, anyone that's listening, I want you to understand that you create your own destiny. No one has dominion over your life but you.
All right, that works. Last question. Thanksgiving was just a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know me, I am a huge advocate of being habitually, powerfully, and deliberately grateful. Right. I don't think that I could be where I am right now without acknowledging that gratitude. And as you touched on earlier, attracting everything that's coming into my life without being grateful. What are you most grateful for right now? And it could be one thing, whatever it may be.
I'm most grateful for who I am, man. Once I was truly able to accept who I was able to accept the calling and the purpose upon my life, man. I'm grateful and I'm thankful for who the man upstairs made me into. So I'm thankful for the shell that I'm in. I'm thankful for the gifts that I have. I'm thankful for me, man. For the man upstairs allowing me to live and walk in my purpose, man. That's what I'm most grateful and thankful for.
All right. That's an awesome, honest answer. Well, Dudley, man, I cannot thank you enough for tuning in and giving me this opportunity to share this conversation with anyone who's going to look to be better than average and get better things out of their life. I don't have enough words to express how appreciative and grateful I am for you, especially with you being sick, man.
Man, yeah, it's on my back. The monkey's on my back, but we got to keep it pushing.
All right, hey, look, man. I hope that you feel healthy. But before I let you go, I have to give you the opportunity. If people want to book you, want to get you to speak to them, if they even need some coaching or one-on-one, let me know. Let the people know, how do they get in touch with you, please?
Well, First off, my website. You can always stop by my website, learn a little bit more about me, see me in action. All my contact information is there. That's www.dudleythurmond.com. www.dudleythurmond.com. I'm on most social media outlets. I'm on Facebook, Dudley Thurmond, Dr. Bounceback. I'm on Instagram at Dr. Bounceback, Twitter at Dr. Bounceback. I'm even on Google Plus. So you can find me anywhere. If you're interested, don't hesitate to reach out and ask some questions. We can make it happen. You know, like I said, I'm here. I'm here for the cause. You know, this is a business, but I'm here for the cause. Don't hesitate to reach out to me and let's talk.
All right, that's what's up. I'm going to give people a sneak peek at some things that may be coming up in 2016. And I don't know. I know I haven't discussed this with you yet, but I'm hoping that you have a sense of what I'm talking about. There's a third brother who I'll be interviewing real soon named Ian.
Mm-hmm.
Ian Humphrey.
My brother too. That's my brother too.
Yes, sir. And you know, he's one of my mentors. We were talking the other day about the three of us doing a tour of some site or some type of function.
Powerful.
So, you know, I need you to get healthy, brother.
Yes.
Get healthy, because we're going to tear this stage up and we're going to bring this to the audiences and change some lives, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right.
Let's make it happen.
Hey, Dudley, thanks again, man. I love you. I'll be in touch with you. You take care. Feel better, man.
All right. Peace.
All right. Peace.